Good morning. Happy Monday, everybody. Let's go ahead and get started. I am thankful today for coffee. Um, I don't know about you, but that is my way to energize my way through the day. And knowing that we have 14 days until spring break is pretty awesome. I hope that you guys had some fun this weekend outside because the weather was awesome. Like it's given me spring fever. However, there's going to be some icy rain and snow tonight, so I'm totally not looking forward to that. Okay, so let's scroll down to this week. It's the pink folder, kind of February themed, right? And let's see what's in there. We have a daily agenda slideshow, and then we have an outsider's essay graphic organizer. So this video is for my online students, but also for my students who are absent or who may have missed the class lesson. So our daily agenda slideshow obviously is going to show us a brief, very brief, like bulleted note of what we do each day, right? So it is from way on back. So we're going to scroll to catch us up past Valentine's Day, okay? And I'm going to go to right here, grading of the argument essay. So you're going to be writing an argumentative essay. This is a different type of writing from narrative or from an analysis because you have two sides of an issue and you have to kind of act as a lawyer almost. And rather than just trying to prove one side, you're going to argue on one side using superb text evidence, but you're also going to have to bring up the other side. And a lot of prosecutors will do that, even though they might be trying to defend um, a certain case, they still have to bring up, hey, guess what? Although I've argued all of this, my defendant will probably say, and they'll bring up the opposite issue's side, but then they come back with a rebuttal saying, however, this is not true because bam, bam, bam. Okay. So you are going to bring up the other side of an issue, even if you strongly believe in this side. Okay. So your two things that you will be assessed on is text evidence. Can you cite your evidence to support your claim? And that would include proper lead-ins, like using, for example, comma, Ponyboy states, comma, and then putting in the text evidence, which would have your quotation mark, the text word for word, the end quotation mark, and then you want to put in parentheses where the page number is, right? And as we remember, we don't need to actually write PAGE or PG for short. We just have to put the number in, okay? And then not only just citing the text evidence properly, but I can use my evidence to thoroughly explain how it supports my argument or claim. So not just saying things that are one sentence, but writing in third person. You're not going to say things like, I believe that. No, 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 no. Okay. Lawyers do not get up in front of a jury and say, I personally believe that this guy is guilty. Here's why, right? They don't get to give their belief. They just simply state the evidence that they have so the jury can come to that conclusion, right? And then writing arguments. This is a new style of writing, so I can write a clear claim to defend one side of the argument, even though you'll be bringing both to the table. I can write with a thorough explanation that supports my claim, which will be your side of the argument. We'll get to that in a minute. And then I can write a counterclaim, meaning you're going to bring up the opposite side of the argument just to show and almost prove how that isn't true. Okay? And you'll need text evidence for the counterclaim. So, here are our possibilities to choose from. You might feel very passionately about one of these, but you only get to pick one. So you could do your argument essay on the fact that you believe Derry Curtis is abusive. You might also say he is not abusive towards Ponyboy. So you can pick Derry Curtis is abusive as your claim, or Derry Curtis is not abusive. It's an act of love or protection for his brothers. Another statement you could pick is Dally Winston was murdered. Okay, we know he was killed, but do you believe it was an act of murder by the cops? Or you could argue Dally Winston was not murdered as it was an act of suicide. he wanted to die, and why you believe that. Okay. You could pick the Socs created the conflicts with the Greasers. That could be an argument. Or the opposite side. The Greasers and Socs are equally accountable for the gang conflict. Another option would be Cherry Valance is a traitor for being a spy for the Greasers, even though she's a Soc. Or you could argue Cherry Valance is not a traitor. She doesn't quite know where she fits in. Lastly, you could pick things are rough all over, right? Socs and Greasers. Or you could say things are rough for the Greasers. Or you could say things are rough all over, but it's how you get yourself out of your situation, no matter where you're in, and work your way out of your situation. So you have the option to pick either side of any of these five. Okay. And I'm going to be giving an example of one that wasn't on here, and it's Johnny Cade is guilty of murdering Bob. Because the other side is it's not, he shouldn't be held to the highest extent of murder because it was self-defense for himself and Pony. So there's going to be two sides to that, and that's going to be my argument. Obviously, I can't pick one from here and show you because then you might copy it, right? And I want to give you more options for your own paper. So what we're going to do now is you need to pause this video, take a minute and think, which one am I most passionate about, or which one do I think I could get the most text evidence from to argue my point? Okay, so pause the video right now and take a minute to pick yours. Once you've picked it, copy it, and I'll show you where to paste it in just a second. Okay, welcome back from pausing, okay? And what you should have done is, let's say you picked one of these, you're going to Control-C to copy. And then let's go back to the Schoology tab, okay? Let's go back into today's folder, or this week's folder. And we're going to go to this graphic organizer. Let's pull this up. It'll get you your own copy, so open that up. Open it up all the way, like press the edit button so it opens into a big screen here, okay? So go ahead and erase where it says My Statement, and Control-V to copy and paste your statement that you believed. Okay, so my statement that I'm using as an example is Johnny killed Bob as an act of murder. Now, I believe that this is false. So I could either believe that the statement is true or false, and that's the way I have to argue. So I believe this is false, and I'm going to be proving this wrong, okay, as if I was in front of a jury. So the first thing I'm going to do is write it in a way that it is a true claim, because right now I believe this is false as it is. So you're going to do the same thing. You're going to scroll down to, this is an introduction paragraph right here. We have a hook, a connector, summary, author background, and claim. We're going to do the claim first. So what you're going to do is rewrite your claim in a way that makes it true for you. And if you copied and pasted your claim and you're like, I believe this is true, then you're pretty much going to paste it down here again and add two reasons. So let me explain here. A claim is your belief towards the statement above, right? With 2 to 3 reasons why you believe it to be true. So, first of all, my statement that I picked is Johnny killed Bob as an act of murder. I need to rewrite that in a way that makes it true for my belief. So I'm going to say Johnny is not guilty for the death of Bob Sheldon, as it was an act of self-defense to save himself and Pony. So I just rewrote it so it makes it true for the way I want to argue it. I'm arguing that he's not guilty for murder, at least to the highest extent. Again, I'm no lawyer. I know there's like murder in the first, second, third degree and manslaughter, which manslaughter is unintentional, right? It's not, you didn't go out purposely to do something to hurt someone. So yes, he killed someone, but I'm going to argue that it was for self-defense. Okay, so once you wrote that over here for your side, then what you're going to do is tell me 2 reasons why you believe that to be true. I believe it's because, so this was my claim, Johnny's not guilty for the death of Bob Sheldon. Why? Because it's an act of self-defense to save him and Pony, and he has PTSD not only from the socias attacking him, but also from his dad's abuse at home, right? He wasn't going to let someone hurt him again. So my argument is that he should not be held guilty for the murder because reason one, it was self-defense. Reason two, it's PTSD that he has. And if you don't know PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, okay? So he has a lot of trauma that he has experienced from his past. So that is your claim, and you're going to write yours over here. Then we're just going to work up. Summary of the novel: who, what, where, when, why. So you can start with the sentence starter. The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton is about, maybe you start with, if you're explaining it to a sixth grader, okay, how would you start? Who is it about? What, where does it take place? About the time period, 1960s. You might not have the why, okay, but like one or two sentences to explain just the big rocks, as I'll say, of the story. So 1 to 2 sentences using the sentence starter. Then we need some background of the author. It says, why did they write the book? What period of their life did they write it? What conflicts or themes, I'm going to say or themes, does the book bring up? You can look back in your web quest from earlier in this unit. So we can start with S.E. Hinton wrote The Outsiders when she was 16 years old. Why did she write it? What was going on in her high school at the time in Oklahoma? What are some conflicts or themes that come up in this novel? You can bring those up. So we're looking for a total here with the summary and the author background, like 4-ish sentences, okay? And then you need a hook. So whatever your claim is, mine is about Johnny being guilty for not being guilty for Bob's murder. You want to find a quote from the book that's going to support that and connect it to your claim of what you're trying to prove. So I found the quote of, I can't take much more. Johnny spoke my own feelings. I'll kill myself or something. I thought that was a very dramatic scene that would start my hook off very well because it would get my reader's attention. Like, oh my gosh, he said that in the book. I got to read on to figure out what this is about. And then I explained who Johnny is and kind of his background and how it connects to why he shouldn't be held responsible for the death. I said, Johnny Cade was the greaser's pet. He lived a life apart from any of the other boys in his gang because, unlike them, he had no true family to count on. Johnny was neglected, abused, and misunderstood. So I'm kind of touching on this PTSD. He would do anything for his friends who were his true saving grace, even if it meant risking his own safety because he hated the life he lived. So I'm kind of prefacing the fact that, like, this is a good kid, right? He has trauma. He wouldn't do this purposely, right? I'm kind of like leading up to my claim. So your introduction paragraph is the first thing that you need to do today. And tomorrow I will explain body paragraph 1. So first things first, go back to that slideshow and pick your argument, which you already have, okay? And do these 1, 2, 3 boxes, okay? There's your writing space. You have 3 boxes. Those will be due tomorrow. Okay, and then tomorrow I'll do body paragraph 1 and explain that. The next day I'll explain body paragraph 2. Next day I'll explain the counterclaim, and the next day I'll explain the conclusion. And by Friday we should be done with this graphic organizer, okay? And then you can connect it into a larger essay. If you want to work ahead of these videos, go for it. Just know that I will put up 1 video a day. And they will not be this long, okay? So don't expect them to be this long here on out. They'll be a little bit more concise and to the point, but again, feel free to work ahead if you can understand the essentials, my model, go for it, okay? All right, happy learning.